There's a lot more to hockey than just living the dream, and every single week we're going to sit down and talk to those who have laced their skates for as long as they can remember, sharing some of their fondest memories, greatest achievements, and what comes after that final shift. Travis Quigley here with Paul Trentini for episode 1 of Rinks and Realities, powered by the LI Sports Network. And Paul, we're super excited for our guest today, Robert Hyde, current junior forward for the Stony Brook Seawolves. Robert, welcome to the pod.
Thank you for having me.
So we'll jump right into it, Rob. Of course, again, just really excited to have you here for episode 1. And obviously, you've been playing this game your whole life. You love the game. And we're going to go back to the beginning. What made you fall in love with hockey? Who made you fall in love with hockey? And how did that person potentially play a role?
So I was really young. Originally, I was going to get into baseball. Dad played baseball growing up. He's a big key to it. But him and my mom were like, they won tickets to go ice skating. I already played like a little bit of roller hockey, a little bit of baseball, like John Jay. And we got like tickets to go ice skating when I was like, 4. I think 4 or 5 years old. And I already know how to rollerblade, so I kind of had the feeling for it. Like, grew up just rollerblading through the house. Mom hated it, but it was fine. She loves her little boy. And I like step on the ice for the first time, and I'm like holding the boards. This is what my parents are telling me. I don't remember really much of it, to be fair. But my parents are telling me I'm like holding the boards, and then eventually I just look at my mom and I go, I got it. And I just started flying around the ice. And she was like, it was all this crazy thing. And I like fell in love. I guess I fell in love right there, because then I like asked my dad, I was like, can I play hockey? And he was like, oh boy.
Here we go.
Right there was when he was like, oh no, this is going to be a long one.
So you say that your goal was to play baseball, but like typically hockey's winter, fall, and baseball's more of a summer thing. Like you didn't do both, or did you do both, but hockey was your main?
I did both for a whopping 3 weeks, I believe. Some really short time, and eventually I just looked at my dad. It was like right before baseball practice, and I literally just go, I don't want to. And I was like, he's like, you want to play hockey? And I was like, yeah, I want to play hockey. And I think I was like 6 or 5 or 6 around that time. I like did it quick. It wasn't no more little league. I was done.
You stepped up for T-ball, realized it wasn't for you, and that was it.
Oh, definitely. I guess that's what the little kid in me saw at the time, and I was immediately just everything was hockey. My room just turned into it went from like because I grew up going to NASCAR races all the time, and I wanted to be originally I wanted to be a NASCAR driver.
Okay.
Crazy to think of, but I wanted to be a NASCAR driver, and I was a big Cars fan. So my room was like a specific color for cars, and then I had like all the stickers of like Lightning McQueen and all that all over my walls, windows, everything. And then next thing you know, there's Jaromir Jagr on the wall, and Ryan Callahan, then Dubinsky, Datsuk, Patrick Kane, just kept going.
It just became your life, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So obviously you said like you put the bat down, you picked up the stick, you were ready to go. I mean, what was it like being that age? Obviously, like, what was the step there? Did you go right to travel hockey? Did your parents put you in the house leagues first? Like, what was the step after that?
We jumped into house league first at the Rinks. I played, I want to say 2 years of it, but after the first year, I was playing with. This is like a shout out, I guess, to my boys, but Gabe Patterson, Matt Barnes, uh, and there was a few other kids that were just like I didn't really see them after that, so the names aren't really clicking. But like Matt Barnes and Gabe Patterson, Will Chicarico, and the so uh, Gabe's like stepdad, Gene. That's like my dad was like, sounds pretty good. You should try out for travel, and I didn't really know anything about it, so my dad was just set me on the ice for the travel tryout, and I made it. So that's where that started. I got pretty lucky that I was on a team with a travel coach, I guess you could say.
It just kind of took off from there.
Yeah.
Huh?
No,
So
PAL.
PAL, right? Yep. Okay.
Yep.
So youth hockey career, was it? I mean, I know your story, but
Yeah.
for the folks that don't know you, don't know your story, where did your youth hockey take you across Long Island?
So I started at PAL, played there for Might B, Might A, and Squirt Minor. And then at the end of Squirt Minor, a lot of people were starting to move around at that time. That's when like all the movement started, and I went to the Gulls, and that's where I met you and Joe, and carpooled with Joe a whole lot. I was
Oh
pretty
yeah.
much was my best friend there, him and Chabrier, and played 1 year Gulls, and then the year of like slap shots came in, and I went to the Royals until I was 17, and I went to Mount St. Charles for my last year of youth hockey, you could say, because my 18 year was there.
So you had no point like entered in Suffolk County High School Hockey League or
Oh
was
yeah, I
in that.
did. I played high school hockey for just my junior year of high school. I played for West Islip.
Oh, West Islip.
Oh
Got a
yeah.
lot of
So
representation in here.
so Rob is one of a very small handful of us hockey players from North Babylon.
Very small handful.
Very small handful, and Rob followed in my footsteps as a West Islip quote unquote legend.
Were you guys on the same team? That
No,
one.
Trav's got a
No,
few years on me.
Oh, all right, all right. Just missed the window.
Yeah.
it wasn't much of a window.
It's like
And that's
a
no
it's like a
knock on my
crack.
Lions, but yeah, we
It's just
all
like
know. You can
a
look at the facts. I mean, one championship and who knows how long
Oh
program
yeah.
history. I mean,
No knock, but not the hockey town you'd think.
it's not a hockey town, but so I mean, sticking with the little kid in you, what were those earliest hockey dreams? Where did you want to go? Where did you want this
Um,
game to take you?
everyone, like it's as cliche as it gets. Everyone wants to play in the NHL. Like growing up, that was just the goal. It was play NHL, work as hard as I can. You know, everyone at that time, I guarantee if you went around the whole room, every kid's like, I want to play in the NHL. Like for sure, that was the biggest goal. That's like right when I started hockey. That's when I fell in love with it too. Like started to go to Ranger games with my dad all the time. Loved like a huge fan of Madison Square Garden. Huge fan of the Rangers. So going to the Garden every single time I either stepped on the ice or went to the Garden or went to a new place for hockey, it just the dream grew and grew and grew. And my dad's pockets shrunk, and shrunk.
Now, are you able to share with us that moment where it kind of hit you of like, maybe the NHL isn't in my crosshairs and
I'd have to say it's kind of like this one hurts to say. It was kind of when I got hurt the first time, when I hurt my shoulder for the first time. I've had two shoulder surgeries. It was that first shoulder injury. I wouldn't say so much as when it happened. It was more of like later on during that year when everything kind of settled down and I went from the USHL to the NAHL. Didn't have had a great time in Amarillo, just didn't really fit the system of how the team played. And then when I went to Danbury, started throwing hands a little bit, but hurt the shoulder a little bit more. And after that first surgery, I felt good coming back to Danbury. It's just we had not gonna keep it light. We didn't really have the best team. Great guys. Our team, we just didn't really win much. Um, only like a few guys were really putting up numbers at all, and it was just like a struggle with the shoulder, figuring out ice time, all that stuff. And by then, I was like, all right, settle on the smaller dream of hopefully playing D1. And then the shoulder happened again after I got to New Jersey in the null, and that was when I was like, it's definitely not looking like that for now. But it was like I'm a pretty religious person, so I saw it as God had a different plan for me. That's kind of where that was going. Wants me to stay home, be with family, not
Yeah,
really
for
go on
sure.
a long adventure. I mean, I did that anyways with Cortland, but my family it's not too far, so it wasn't bad.
So I want to circle back a little bit. And I mean, was that primarily your reason to go up to the Mount? Was that pursuit, that chase of that NHL and NCAA D1 dream?
Definitely, especially that so my 16-year year with the Royals. Matt Plant, the coach of Mount during the time. Well, actually, it was the inaugural year, but he was coaching at Selects Academy and South Kent.
I'm
And
sorry,
he,
just real quick, Rob. For those who don't know the Mount, just explain the school of
well,
Mount, where it is.
so Mount St. Charles is in Rhode Island. It's a Catholic school with a hockey program aboard it. They have a high school hockey team and like a JV and a varsity and a middle school team, but they also have like the academy with the 14s, 15s, 16s, and 18s. And it's a long time ago. It was actually a really big like program, and they had a lot of cool like history with it, and it was really cool to like go through the school and see like the old charter program they had. And so 2019, 2020 was the inaugural year that they brought it back. And that was so 2018-19 was my 16 year. That was when I was playing high school and Royals. So it was probably the best shape I've ever been in, to be fair. And uh, during that year, Matt Plant, I don't remember exactly where my first encounter with him was. I think it was in New Hampshire during like that Salem tournament up there.
Yep.
And immediately, like, you get the butterflies of like, wow, someone's talking to me. I already had like a few talks with colleges,
Yep.
everyone gets that early stage talk with their colleges. They get excited, like, ooh, this is where I want to go.
Yeah.
At that time, it was UMass Amherst, and so during the year, I was a little skeptical on it because I was like first year program, a little scared. I was a bit of a homeboy, so I love being at home, scared to go away. And then I got convinced by, my dad was like a big supporter, obviously. Plant was really good at selling it. He did a great job. He was also best coach I ever had. I loved him to death. It was the most fun I've had probably ever. That team was amazing. So when I got there that first week, to bring up the homebody, homeboy, and I was little bit of a wuss moment for me. Definitely. It's calling up my mom, like crying that I wanted to go home. She was like, "You're not going anywhere." But
Yeah. She's like, I finally got rid of you. You're staying.
She's like, "I don't have to pay for your food."
Yeah.
DoorDash.
Yeah.
But I'm so thankful that I did stay, and that I was forced to. There was no way I was coming home anyways. But I'm so thankful I did. I had the best time ever, and I never wanted to leave. It's one of those moments where if I could turn back the clock, I would restart it there again.
For sure. And I'm sure, doing that at 17 years old, it's a big, massive leap, but I also think it probably helped leaps and bounds in your maturity and your growth as a young adult.
Definitely. It definitely changed me a lot. I've definitely become more of like I don't want to say independent fully, but like I definitely enjoyed being, not that I hated being home, but I enjoyed being away from home, having that like, independency from your parents. Obviously they still worried. Like I wasn't really, I'm not a big, like, I didn't do crazy stuff ever. So
Yeah.
they kind of had no issues trusting me with what I was doing or where I was. And we had like so if we wanted to leave the dorm, we had to get like permission from our parents, and then that would go through whoever was tending the dorms at night, or whatever floor you were on. It was different. So like my parents, every time I wanted to leave, it was an immediate yes, like you can do whatever you want kind of thing. So there was the trust there that made that a lot more fun too.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, I'm sure that experience at the Mount helped you for that transition into junior hockey, where,
Uh,
as you mentioned earlier, a little bit of a time in the USHL, a big stint in the NOL. Just talk about your experience in the junior ranks a little bit further for us.
So at first, for the USHL, I was. It's a pretty cool fact for me, in my opinion, but I was the last pick in the draft for the USHL draft, and I was the only pick in that round.
Everyone
Like
else skipped.
everyone else skipped, and I was the only pick in that draft. Actually, Sioux Falls was the only team to pick in like the last, I think it was 4 or 5 rounds. So it was like really cool to like see that I got picked, and it was the last pick.
What do they call that in the NFL?
Mr. Irrelevant.
There we go. Yeah. So you were the Mr. Irrelevant of the USHL.
It was really cool, and I was like mind blown because I was going to a camp no matter what because of my advisor, Dan Marshall, he was going to get me into a camp anyways. But like
Love Dan.
knowing
Great
that I was
guy.
solidified into a camp was like just the happiness part. And I knew, so Brandon Chabrier played there the year before. He was one of my best friends from the Gulls with Joe. And he was there for his rookie year. He's unbelievable. He plays at UMaine. He's unbelievable guy. Unbelievable hockey
Brandon was all over the Islanders' social medias this summer for that
player.
one-handed goal he scored at Dev Camp.
So nasty.
So
I jumped out of
nasty.
my chair when I
Yeah.
saw it on Instagram. Like I
Big
was
shout
so
out to
happy.
Shabs. Love
Oh,
him.
yeah, big shout out. Love him. But him being there also like helped a lot. So we got to meet so we had our camp and it was like in the middle of July. It was that main camp and I was like not supposed to make it just because last draft they wanted players there, fill in some gaps, and I ended up having like a really good camp, and I scored in like each and every game. Had some highlight reel ones that I would definitely probably find in my phone right now if I went in my videos. But I had a good time, and I had a good camp, and they invited me to go to training camp at the start of the year, so I was ecstatic by that, and I was
Of
so
course.
excited. And my billet family, so you got to meet them like a month before, like through FaceTime. Like they hook you up with their number and all that stuff, and you can FaceTime. They show you where you're gonna live, the house in general. And I got set up with like a awesome family, super awesome family, really nice. They, I could be wrong, but their house was like a very new build. It was in like a new like a new. Not, I don't want to say complex, but it was like a new. I don't know what they
Like
call it.
housing development, like
Yeah,
kind
new
of like
housing development, and there was like a little lake, a man-made lake in the middle. So like
That's
it
cool.
was, I got
That's cool.
definitely blessed. Me and my roommate there were for sure blessed. We had a whole basement to ourselves with its own kitchen and bathroom, the whole 9 yards. And one of the rules for Sioux Falls then was that each kid had to have a queen size bed. So I had like a big queen size bed to my like in my room. Big,
Luxury.
yeah, big TV. They had the Apple TV set up with like 3 TVs on their wall at the time. It was really cool. And it was like just an awesome time, especially like first time away from home that far. Because
Yeah.
Rhode Island's not that far. It's a ferry ride over after
Yeah.
like an hour drive to the ferry and then another hour to the school. So it wasn't bad. And then so going to Sioux Falls, I'm halfway across the country. My dad, so getting to training camp, my dad drove my truck out at the time. And I was going to go with him, but he literally forced me to hop on the plane with Shabs so that I had good legs for camp, which
Right idea.
there.
Good
That,
call, Bob.
that was a good call by Dad. And it was cool because he perfectly got to the airport as I landed, which was pretty sweet. Good timing by Bob right there, too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hockey dads, they got minds that work differently.
Which is something. I don't know. He was so good with driving and growing up. Like, just the timing. He was always perfectly on time for everything. It was crazy. But then I got there. Like, of course, I appreciated having the legs, but you don't want to. At the time, he was, 58? And he was driving by himself across the country, going through the cornfields of Iowa, just seeing nothing.
Yeah.
like that's like every man's dream, though. Like just
I will say,
that
Peace.
time alone, just
Juniors
you're
is going to be a long story, so you'll hear my point of view for that too. But so we started training camp, and I was playing really well. In personal opinion, I think it seemed like it was going in the right direction. And then so the first game, I luckily got paired up with my roommate for my line, and I don't remember who was the other player on my line, if I'm being honest. It's like such a blur now. It was, 2020? 5 years ago now? Pretty much around this time, too. So, like a month from now, because it was the COVID year, so everything was pushed back a month.
Yep.
And it was pretty much around this time 5 years ago. And that game, I was playing really well, too. I sprung my roommate for a breakaway pass, got rocked, had my welcome to the USHL moment, turned up the boards, grabbing a pass for the breakout, and just got destroyed. It was awesome. And then later on that game, Chabrier was rounding the net, and I come down to support, pivot. As I'm pivoting, my heels hit the boards, dumb moment for me. And then when I fell, my shoulder came out. That was the first
Mm.
time that happened. It was the most like, if you watched it, you would have had no idea that it happened. It was like one of those freak. So it was called a sublex because it didn't fully come out; it just went out and in.
Yep.
So I like felt it. I was like, that didn't feel right. It hurt. Like it didn't hurt at first, so I was like, oh, okay, maybe we're good. Then once I got to the bench, it just started screaming, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Went over to my trainer, great guy. He immediately was like, I was like, my shoulder came out. He's like, your shoulder came out? He's like, is it in? I was like, I think so. I don't know. So then he did like the little strength test and everything, and he's like, you could finish this game. So luckily I got to finish that game at least it was near the end of the second period. So once I got in the locker room, it kind of tightened up again. So I played not too many shifts in the third, hurt a little bit. But that whole week I was getting like going to see doctors. They were on it right away, like going to see doctors, making sure I was getting the treatment immediately. And then at the end of that week, it was like a day before I was supposed to come back. I was feeling better. I tore my labrum. I didn't know that yet though, but
Yep.
because I just started feeling better, I was able to move. When you tear your labrum, like you can move still and everything. It doesn't really hurt eventually after a while. You just have that big chance of dislocating it. But the day before I was supposed to come back for practice, they cut me, and I was like so upset about it because I really loved where I was. I had a good billet family, and my roommate actually also got cut the same day. So my billet family was like, "Oh, they
Now
already
the empty
knew.
house.
They knew. So they knew in the morning before we got cut. They were when we got back to the house. They told us they were like, "Yeah, we knew this morning because they wanted to give us a heads up for when you guys go to the rink and everything." And they were that was during COVID too. So like that was all during COVID, and it was during a snowstorm in South Dakota in the middle of October. So they were like, we talked to Amarillo for you because Amarillo drafted me in the first round that year for the NAHL draft. So they talked to Amarillo for me already, and they were going to send me on down there. So I had to wait a few days because of this big snowstorm, and then my Amarillo dream started. This is where we get back to the driving through absolutely nothing for a long time.
Driving from South Dakota to Amarillo, Texas.
Yeah, that was during a snowstorm, and I like the drive. So for me, I'd never seen anything like this before in my life. So I was wired the whole trip down. I was so pumped. Like I was just excited to drive across the country. I thought it was so cool. I'm driving through, and I did four. It was 14 hours. It was supposed to be 12, but I did 14. I stopped a few times to get gas and everything, but like it's just so weird how different the middle of like America is when you're in like Nebraska. You start in South Dakota. The second I left like the city limits, it was 80 miles an hour as the speed limit. I was so caught off guard. I was like, what? No way. But immediately I was only on an interstate for 10 miles, and then it was all one laners all the way down. It was a really like weird thing because it was all the only people I ever saw on the road were 18 wheelers. There was one time I passed 4 18-wheelers at once because I was not sitting behind them. Impatient New York drivers not sitting behind 18-wheelers.
Not at all. Never.
But it was like then when you get I got to like Oklahoma, and it was through the Panhandle, so it was only like 30 minutes. Once I got into Texas, they don't have plows in Texas anywhere. The second I got into Texas, I ran into a sheet of ice and just instantly was in like this. It felt like I was in a tundra. I was like, what is going on? Because North Texas gets real cold. Real cold. You're in like the mountains a little bit. Amarillo was freezing during that time, but no plows. So I like, for some reason, this was my instant reaction was to put my truck into four-wheel while going 55 miles an hour, and I blew the four-wheel drive actuator on my truck. So I drove the next 3 hours in two-wheel drive through ice and snow, and that was the most stressful time of my life. But then I got there. I was scared to, I kind of had that same homebody moment when I got to my billet family in Texas, but immediately found out that they were amazing people. They had 4 dogs, had a lot of fun with them. Immediately I showed up. It was like 10:30 at night for Central Time, and They had a plate of dinner ready for me and everything. They were super nice. Introduced me to all the dogs. Showed me where I was staying. Helped me out with everything. And then I was there for 3 months. I didn't really like my first. I would say my first 2 weeks were really good. I was playing off a high of being in USHL for a month, so I had like a good first 2 weeks. Didn't really play much. My first shift actually was a power play shift where I almost had an assist, and I didn't see the power play after that, which was really sad. It's all right, stuff happens. And eventually, I just didn't really fit the South. Everyone hears it's the dirty South. Didn't really fit it at the time.
Yeah, that muck and grind style of
Yeah.
hockey.
Very robotic, like muck grind. I'm more of like that free will, give me the puck, I might do something weird kind of player.
Now,
And
did you play with Chris Carroll down in
that's
Amarillo?
when I knew Chris Kyle before that, but that was when I became buddies with him.
Love Chris, great guy, fellow dad, Paul.
Fellow Heat Daddy. He that's when I found out how hilarious he was. Actually,
He is a clown.
ripping the team group chat with the craziest things you've ever seen. Like meme wise, they were just hilarious. Like when you saw Chris Carroll's name in the group chat, it was going to be something hilarious.
Yeah,
I will say that team, I was so we were all so close. Like they had the rookie and vet stuff, but it wasn't bad. Just that first court was bad. First court.
yeah.
Well, welcome to the Null. Hit me with $20. Welcome to the Null South. Hit me $20.
Oh,
Rookie $20. And then they had like the blankets for everyone, and I wrapped up my first one with I think it was $75 was my first court.
great.
I was so mad about that. I was like, I don't know what to tell you. I can't. It's not like I could step in the middle of this room and go, no,
Not happening.
They would have been like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, who's this guy?
Yeah, who's this guy think he is? But I had a really good time with that team.
Short stint though, huh?
Short stint, 3 months. Honestly, felt long just because of how kind of a reversal. When they say time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
It was kind of those I was savoring every moment while I was there. It was I was in Texas, never been before. Such a weird, never expect to be in Amarillo, Texas. No one does. And my roommate, Jakob Tepley, he's from Connecticut, actually, which was pretty cool. I played against him growing up. He was on Mid-Fairfield, and I think he was on Mid-Fairfield. But I know he was on Westchester when they were that super team.
Yep.
And so I kind of knew him already. Found out him and I, pretty good combination if you want to have fun. We had good times. Went golfing in frigid cold air all the time, which was crazy. But he was he got cut right before me. So not that he got cut, but they sent him down to, they wanted to send him down to the NA3 team, and he was a good player. And he was like, no, I'm not doing this. So he went to the bubble for the NCDC, the last.
Okay, I remember that. That was down in Tampa or wherever it was.
Yeah, it was sick. That was so cool.
Yeah.
It would have probably been a good idea if I was thinking well after I left Amarillo. But eventually it got to the point where I played 7 games in the 20, it was 22 that I was there for. Played 7 of them. And it just got
to be on the ice.
Yeah, it just got to the point where I was like, I can't keep going on these trips, not playing, practicing as an extra forward every day. I didn't feel like I was getting better. Just felt like I was developing the grinder part of my game, which I will say it definitely helps. I figured out that I could grind if I needed to. And it was definitely a piece of Amarillo that I'd take with me.
Definitely.
And so eventually I had numerous discussions with my coach at the time. He wasn't too happy with my performances in the gym, which didn't really. I was doing everything else well. It was just the benching. I couldn't get my
shoulder.
I no disrespect. He just didn't. I don't think he understood that because I didn't really have an MRI saying my shoulder was my labrum was torn. So I don't think he really knew the severity of it at the time.
Yep.
So it's not really on him for that.
But to be fair, I don't think you really knew the severity of it at the time either.
I still hadn't dislocated it again since the first time, so I didn't really think anything bad was going on. But then eventually, he was like, "We can't really find a trade partner for you. We drafted you in the first round. We don't want to just get rid of you." And I was like, okay. I was like, I'll talk to my advisor and see what we can get done. So my advisor was like, we could try and get you to the east because I wanted to go home. With,
Yeah.
just not playing. I was like, I don't know if I really want to go somewhere that's going to be super far away from home again. So eventually, we were able to get Danbury, and they got they sent over some picks and some money to Amarillo for me, and I got to. So I went home before the trade even like started to be finalized because he was like, "You're not gonna." He's like, "I don't want to be rude, but you're not gonna play if you like." He's like, "We've already talked about this and everything," and I was like, "Can I just drive home since I know I'm going to the east?" And he was like, "Yeah." He was actually very nice about it. He like wanted to make sure that I left at whatever time it was. Like make sure I texted when I got on the road, texted when I got to home, whatever it was. He was actually very supportive with that. So I'm grateful. He was a good person, very good
Yeah.
person. He cared about his players a lot. And I get home, so now I'm sitting at home just messing around. Me and my dad. I'm like, I finally get to see my dad after I hadn't seen him in 3 months besides Christmas. So I saw him once for Christmas since October. It was like one time. I got to see my mom, who I hadn't seen since Christmas. My sister, too. She was super pumped that I was home. And then eventually, so I was home like 6 days, I think it was. And then eventually I got that trade over to Danbury. So immediately I was pumped. I was like, I'm close to home. They've only played 6 games because they got shut down for COVID.
Yep.
And my first day up in Danbury, I get in the locker room, and they throw me in like the corner stall because that's all that was available at the time. And I see my number, and it's 63. And I was like, whoa, Marshan. Like, this is a pretty cool thing right here. I was just pumped, excited. Everyone gets excited for a new team. A little like the nervous excitement where
Yeah.
you got butterflies, but like
Fresh
you're pumped
beginnings.
to be there. Everyone was, super nice when I got in the locker room. That team was really fun. We all lived at the La Quinta in Danbury that year.
I was gonna say, when did you move into the La Quinta?
That was that day, right after I got there for my first practice. So I left there in the morning before practice because it was only an hour and a half to drive up there. So I left like early in the morning, got to the rink. I couldn't practice that day because I needed to get like USA Hockey stuff done for Danbury, get all my equipment and whatever it was. So the first day I didn't skate, and then they went away on a trip that weekend. So I got to meet my roommate for just that night, and then they went away to Maryland that weekend, and they were like, we're not gonna make you come along for the 6 hour bus ride to Maryland when you just got here. You want to settle in and stuff. So that weekend I practiced with the Fed team. That was definitely an interesting moment.
I
Like,
bet.
it was. I was like, I had no idea what the Fed was. So
Yeah.
I hop on the ice and I'm like, what's the Fed? What is this?
Who are these guys?
I find out it's like pro hockey, and I'm like, okay, a little interesting. I had no idea that there was a team in Danbury, Connecticut that was a pro hockey team. But the first day, like it was early on in their training camp. Or no, it wasn't training. It was January. They were coming back to their season. Excuse me, and I got to skate with them the first 3 days or whatever it was, and whoever there was like another scratch that was there with me, and we were just messing around with the Fed team all weekend. So it felt like I met two teams in a week.
And like, yeah.
But we were like close to all three locker rooms were like right next to each other in the same area.
And you all lived in the La Quinta.
Yeah, and literally every player lived in La Quinta besides like the big time vets for the Fed team.
Yeah.
Like all the NA3 guys lived in apartments, which was really interesting for me because I was like, you guys got
A little backwards, yeah.
a little backwards. We're in this La Quinta in the middle of Danbury. There's
Paul, this La Quinta, you could throw a rock onto I-84. Like it's
Yeah,
right
I'm
there.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Yeah, it's La Quinta Inn. It's off Newtown Road in Danbury. It's this place. I'm not gonna lie, great time, great time. But it was definitely so interesting.
Interesting is a good
You
word.
never knew what was happening that day.
Very, very affordable nightly rates here.
What
You can
is
see
it?
why
Now?
they stuffed like 2 teams in there.
What is it right now?
90 a night. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I was paying like 500 a month or something like that. 400, 500 a month to live there. 550, something like that.
That's
So
not bad.
not bad for
Bad.
compared to the nightly,
Yeah.
rate
Now,
that
did you have like your own room? So you had a roommate, and
I
I
had a
assume
roommate. So I'm
it was like
just
a 2 queens. Was that like
it
the
was two fulls.
okay?
It's not Sioux Falls here, Paul. It's the La Quinta.
Yeah, my bad. It's the La Quinta off of whatever 84.
Right off of 84, which was nice to go to the rink because you
Yeah.
just hop on 84 and you go. But like so, our whole team lived on the same floor, and it was kind of like bringing me back to the Mount days with the dorms.
Yep.
So it was like very similar to that. So it didn't really like bother me entirely. Plus, my roommate and we still talk now, like catch up now every now and then. Gabe Dombrowski. So when I met him, he was also a rookie. So I met him, and him and I were just talking all night. It was like one of those things where the second you like I met him, and immediately we were like best buds, like just all night, just talking about random stuff. He was into a lot of
Doing
things that I
karate in the
wasn't.
garage.
Yeah. Like we set up our beds so the La Quinta, you probably have pictures of it in there of the La Quinta hotel rooms on that.
Yeah, I do.
They're like they're definitely older, but you like walk in, it's that basic. We had it where it was to the left was like the bathroom and everything. Everything was like to the left. But
Okay.
we had our bed, so my bed was on the far corner and his bed was on the near corner. So our beds were facing each other to have a little bit more space for the Xbox setup. And
I feel that.
and so like we would just sit on the end of our bed and just talk about anything. He would throw on a show, whatever it was. He was into a lot of things I wasn't to at the time. So like he was big into Star Wars, and I wanted to, but I was too lazy. I knew
I totally get that. I
I knew there was
totally
a
get
lot.
that.
I knew there was a lot about it that I needed to learn. But he would always play Battlefront, and I'd be sitting there just watching him play Battlefront. I have no idea. I only know who like Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker is at the time. Maybe Yoda. Hadn't, and I'm,
Maybe.
and I'm just sitting
Maybe.
there watching him play, and we're just talking about anything. And then like a teammate would come in, hang out. We would go to what room was it? Was it 216? It was something. I don't remember the exact room number, but it was Mark D'Agostino and Shea Cormanch, and they would every night they'd host the fellas to just hang out, watch whatever was on TV. Whether it was, I think that was right when they were getting back into like hockey season.
Yeah, hockey started up in like January 2021. So
Yeah, so that was kind of when everything was starting. It was like January 2021, so we started to like watch the hockey games in those rooms, whatever else was on. Have barbecues in the back, you know, like it was a dorm life, so everyone was there. We were just hanging out. Had a really good time that year. My vet actually, Porter Shackle, from Alaska. He's a 6'5" forward. He was actually at the Bruins dev camp. I think it was 2 years ago.
Oh
He
wow.
played at UVM in Alaska, and this kid, talk about an insane human being, but I love him. Awesome, just one of those guys. Like he walks in the room, like his first day was my first day, and we played on the same line together. So he got me. Actually, I scored a power play goal for my first goal, but he was just my first few shifts with him. I was like, this guy's an animal. He had by the time he was done with juniors, he had over four. I think it was over 400 pims in the null.
Wow.
400.
Wow.
he said his name was Porter Shackle.
Yeah, I think
That's an all-time name too.
That is like an
If
Alaskan
you go
Porter.
on EP, you could see his stats. He was my vet though, so like for court, I would sit between his legs. I'm not telling you, like this guy, he was insane. He'd sit there and like play with my hair. Like, what are you doing? But like it was just like that bond we had as a team. Like there was nothing that was like weird for us. Like it was just one of those teams where like we might not have been the best team. A lot of skilled guys. A few guys went D1. Pretty much the rest of them went D3, and then a few would club. It was just like that was like since that was COVID year, the trickle down effect was big. Our team was
Yeah.
like really good, a lot of good guys. But the next year, that's when like a lot of those guys left, and went and played BC because that all opened up again. Played in the BC. Some guys went to the USHL or whatever it is that they went. A lot of guys went to college. We had a lot of OOs that year. And so the next year we had like practically a brand new team. Besides, there was like the O1s that were there and the O2s. Other than that, we had a brand new team for the most part.
So you had about a season and a half in Danbury?
I played. Technically, you can give me a full season because they only had 6 games when I got there for the first season.
Okay.
So that's full, and then I played the full second year when we had 13 wins. It was a long year for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And then, so that summer, I requested a trade after that bad year.
So this is going into your age out season now.
Yeah, this is going into my age out year. I requested a trade.
And I want you to continue with this, but
Yeah.
you requested a trade, and now is this with the idea of D1 is still within grasp? I'm trying to get to a Division I school and get to a better NOL team to facilitate that.
Yeah, and I forgot a major piece in the story in the first place. But at the end of the first season, I had my first shoulder surgery. I had to leave because I had a few. I had a fight with Jake LaRusso. He's one of my buddies. We were playing the Titans, and I was messing with a 03 at the time, so he had the cage on because he wasn't old enough to wear the visor. So I'm like flicking his cage up, messing with him. And eventually, like late game, there's like I think it was like 7 minutes left. LaRusso looks at me at the draw and goes, "We're going." I'm not going to say no.
All right,
You
let's
can't
go.
say no. That's one of those situations where you can't say no. Like it's your team is like, dude, that's embarrassing if you say no there. Like you got to take it. Luckily, found out I could throw hands a little bit. I had a good time. There was that moment where he like punched me and it hit my visor, and that was when I was like, oh,
I'm in a fight.
Yeah, I was like, I'm in a fight.
Yeah.
So it just everything went red, and I just started punching, and it worked out for me in the end. But that gave my coach the incentive to be like, hey,
this guy's a fighter.
A few weeks later, one of our better players, Alex Krause, got hit from behind against the Gens, and we played 3-game weekends because we had to catch up in games. So it was the second game of the weekend. So everything was already scrappy in general. Our team was scrappy in the first place. We fought like every game, every practice. It was like brotherly fights.
By the time you get to Sunday, it's
everyone's beat up.
Yeah.
So then that Sunday, I'm showing up to the rink. I'm pumped. Can't wait to play. I was like, I saw how the first 2 games went. I was excited. I get there and he's like, you're starting with Shaq and Duncan, and I'm like, that's not my line. So then they're like, yeah, you're going to be in a line brawl. I was like,
what?
A line brawl? They're like, you got to drop gloves right off that puck drop. Weirdly, though, Shaq wasn't on the ice for the first puck drop. So we played 30 seconds or whatever, and then he just jumps on the ice, and he goes to go to center, and I'm like, no, I want this guy. Turns out. So on their side, I don't remember everyone that was on their side, but I know Belov, who plays at Hobart now, and then Ty Matthews was the center. So I jumped into center because that's where I was to start the draw, and he was like, are we doing this? Like before the first puck drop. So I was like, I guess so. I was like, they want us to. So I was like, I think it's on the second one though. So I gave him like a heads up that I was going to just auto shed right there. So I auto shed. We start fighting. Shaq absolutely tosses this kid. The kid turtled immediately, and Shaq just throws him. Everything ensues. Me and this kid fight, and it gets to the point where now we're just both on the ice wrestling, and he just taps me. He's like, we're done. Thank God he did, because as he tapped me, my shoulder popped out.
Ooh.
So that's where I was like, oh.
Yeah.
But I get kicked out of or everyone that was in it got kicked out of that game. We got 4-game suspensions. Call it 5 because we missed the rest of that game. So we got 5-game suspensions. So my trainer, Amy Schneider, she's the best. So she was taking care of the Fed team, the NA3 team, and the NOL team by herself. She had someone who was training from college there, Erin, but she wasn't there as often as like Amy was. And so she's got all these guys that she's got to take care of. And I've come in now with my shoulder all messed up. She already knew about it because I was doing like the brace and everything. But eventually I come back, I start playing again. It's like the second or third to last weekend. We're playing the Gens again, of course. And actually, we played Maine in that fight. I'm an idiot. Sorry. Excuse me. We played Maine for that fight. That's total accident. But then we're playing the Gens at the end of the year, and I trip over one of my teammates from Mount, and my shoulder comes out again. And that one like hurt the most and everything, and I couldn't move it. So eventually, I like talked to my coaches, like I think I need to go home and get this looked at. I think I need a surgery on it or something. So I go home that summer, have my surgery, blah blah blah. Next season ensues. I get in late. We didn't have a good year. And then the next summer is when I requested a trade. So now we get back to that trade because I'm still on like that. I feel good now. I want to play D1 hockey.
Yep.
No one's really getting looks here because we're not winning games. We're not scoring goals. Like coaches aren't coming to our games.
Yeah.
We're only getting the D3 coaches that are coming around looking at our top players. So I like talked to my coaches. I like humbly request a trade and everything. So I found out they were asking the Gens for like their two best players. And it was just like weird for me because I wasn't playing as much as like a top player. Just because the shoulder and it just like whatever was going on in their minds, I just wasn't playing a ton of 5-on-5. I was playing more just power play time.
Yeah.
I didn't kill, and so I was like, this is weird. They're kind of taking me on as a like top player if they're asking for their two best players.
Yeah.
So it was like it threw me off guard. So I just didn't get traded that summer, and I show up. I have a conversation with my coach at the time, Matt Voidy, and he was like, "We're gonna see how this year goes. If we're not in a playoff spot, we're gonna trade you." Unfortunately, we start the season we win the first game. So we win the first game. I have a big all had a big game. I blocked a shot with like 2 seconds left. We're up 3-0. And
Everyone's like, "All right, Danbury, we're turning it around."
everyone was all excited. Big turnaround. And then we go on a 8-game or 9-game losing streak.
Ooh.
That carried into Blaine, so the showcase. I hadn't gone to Blaine once yet. That was my first time in Blaine. That was when I met the Cortland coach, Joe Cardarelli. That's when I met him, was in Blaine. And so in Blaine, I got kicked out of a game for a slew foot. It wasn't really. I mean, it looks like it bad in the video, but the kid like snuck up behind me, and I like
have to find that
reactionary.
footage.
I have it. It's in the phone somewhere. Because I studied that footage. I was like, that's not.
He slowed it down frame by frame.
I was like, you can't kick me out for this. This is so rude. I was like, I wanted to play. I got kicked out of like the games before that too because my captain Andrew Eberling, he played with me at Mount too. I played, what was it, 4 years in a row with him, 3 years in a row with him. So he was one of my best buddies. So anytime he was getting ahead, he was wearing a visor too because he got like hit in the face a few times. He was one of those players that just balls to the wall every time. Like he was just going. So he was our captain. So he got hit from behind in the second game. So I immediately, I guess I'm a fighter at this point. So I dropped my gloves immediately and I grabbed the kid and he like turtles right away. And I'm like, dude, come on. Playing teams from different divisions. I was feeling it. The next game, the same thing happens. So now they give me a 10-minute misconduct. The first time they just gave me like a 2-minute roughing penalty. The second time they gave me like a 10-minute misconduct. And then the next game was when that slew foot happened. So I got kicked out of that game and I missed whatever game it was at home. It was my third suspension in the null. And I was like, uh-oh, we're getting up there in suspensions. Got a lot of PIMs. But
and again, this is your age out season.
this
correct?
is my age out year.
Right at the
So
beginning
now
of the year with Danbury.
Yeah, we're doing bad. I'm in that like I don't care mode anymore. Like now I'm in the if they're not going to get rid of me, I'm in the I'm just going to have fun. I'm going to play hockey, have fun.
Yep.
And then eventually I find out Craig DeRemus and the Titans.
Love Craig.
So apparently over the years they were trying to get me or something like that. The first year they wanted to, but they had too many guys. When I like went to Danbury, they had too many guys. They couldn't fit me in there. And then my age out year, they finally an offer comes on the table, and my coach is like, he's like, by the trend of how this is going, it's looking like last year. So we're gonna let you, we're gonna trade you to Jersey. And I was like, really? Originally, it didn't seem like they wanted to trade me in division, and I was like, you kind of need to. I'm like moving out of my house this year. with like my parents and everything splitting up. I was like, I'm moving out of my house this year. I really can't afford to go across the country. So they send me to Jersey. I'm like, wow, like our neighboring team. Like that's
And was this the season after they had just won the
yes.
East
So
and all?
this was coming into a hot
So they're
locker.
coming off. Yeah, they got
Yeah.
a lot of steam. They're a
Oh,
group that's galvanized. They're fired up. They're trying to go back to back.
absolutely. Everyone like I got in that room. I was so nervous because I went from like a losing room to a winning room immediately. I mean, they'd had Jersey hadn't had like a hot start either. Craigie made a lot of his like trades and moves
Yep.
early on. Brought me in, played me like on power play and everything. Right, I didn't kill, but I played power play right away. Had a lot of ice time. Um, and then ironically, we're playing Danbury one weekend. First game. It's their first. What was it? It was my first time playing Danbury since the trade. It was like a few weeks in. First game, I have 2 goals. I was feeling myself. I'm not gonna lie. Had a good weekend there. And then the second game, I go to the corner. I have a video of it again. I go to the corner with one of my buddies that was on the team that I played with at Danbury, and I go to engage contact, and I kind of like missed him a little bit, and he gave me like a good shoulder. And when I hit the boards, uh, my shoulder came out again after my surgery, and I was like, "This is nuts." I mean, I like started like in the locker room. Like when I got back to the bench, my trainer, I was like beside myself. I was so at that point I was talking to like Air Force Academy, so I kind of still had that D1 aspiration going. Like I was like, ooh, military, not bad. There was like a few other, I think there was 1 or 2 other D1 schools that were interested.
The dream was still there.
Yeah, the dream was still there. But then when that happened, immediately like I got in the locker room and I was like, oh no. I was like, luckily my dad was there, so he like came in the locker room and I just like started bawling my eyes out. I was like, this. I can't. I was like, I can't believe it. After the surgery and everything, I was like, I was feeling so good. It was like my prime time again.
Yeah.
But I go. I try to like suck it up, play a little bit more. So I go home for I think it was like 5 weeks. I was home. I put on a few pounds playing Xbox all the time. I really couldn't do anything, so I was playing Xbox, crushing Oreos, and
Snacking.
yeah. And I put on like 10 pounds, and I did PT as much as like it helped me gain my mobility back. It didn't do anything as to stopping my shoulder from dislocating.
Yeah.
So I found out my original surgery held, and I tore the rest of my labrum from like. So my first surgery was from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and I ended up tearing from 3 to 7.
Oh my
Ooh.
god.
So I was like, damn, this sucks.
Yeah.
But then I was like, all right, suck it up, Rob. You got to play. You got to play hockey. Like your dream is still there. If you could somehow play really well and then get this second surgery, good. You could potentially get into a D1 school. I was still keeping contact with all the D3 schools that I talked to in Blaine, like Cortland. I think Southern New Hampshire. So then there was a few of the like New England schools that I really could not afford, but I still interested. They're good schools.
Yeah.
Actually talking to Hobart as well, which was I that one was pretty cool. I didn't really know much about I didn't really know much about college hockey in general. I just knew that D1, like everyone's like, ooh, D1, the best. So I
Yeah.
didn't really know like who Hobart was at the time, or like I knew Cortland just because all my friends like.
Now you look at Hobart and it's like,
Yeah,
wow,
I
these
was like,
guys are a damn powerhouse.
that could have been a missed. That was definitely a missed opportunity if I was talking to him that much. But at the end, so that year, I get back. I get back. Moved into the Jersey house that we lived in. We all lived in one house for the most. It was like most of the guys. There was like a few guys that lived with family or whatever it was in Jersey, and I get all situated. I wake up to my shoulder out of its socket the day of my first game back, and I was like, no. I was in so much. It came out. So every time it came out, it went up. This time it went down.
Mm.
And that so when it goes up, it doesn't pinch your nerves. It just feels uncomfortable. This time it went down, and it like damn near knocked me out. Like I was in so much pain. But I was like, screw it, we're playing. that already came out a few times before that. We're playing. So I play, and then after the second period, I go in the locker room and I put a towel over my head, and it comes out when I did that. And I was talking to my trainer while doing that. I go, oh. He was like, no. I was like, yeah. So he like made me pop a few Advils. So that just kept going on the rest of the year until right before playoffs. I just kept popping it in and out, kept chipping bone off my shoulder, and just it came to the point where it was just coming out way too much. Like
Yeah.
any movement, it was coming out, and I was like, yeah, it's time to pack it in and just get
Take
this.
care of this.
I didn't get to play one playoff game in my NOL career, which was like the big bummer. I was really excited to play in the playoffs, especially since we made it.
Yeah.
But I get home and I wanted to so originally they had me scheduled for like 4 weeks in advance or whatever it was to get my surgery. And then out of nowhere, it was like 2 days. They were like, we actually found an opening 2 days from now. So I got my surgery March 28th, like immediately right after I left.
Which I'm sure was probably better for you.
Oh, yeah.
Being able to get that done earlier, more recovery time leading into what became your freshman semester of college.
Yeah. So Joe Cardarelli kept in contact with me through both coaches did for Hobart and um, for Cortland. And so I ended up ultimately making my decision to go to Cortland because I really enjoyed Joe as a person. And then I also knew a good amount of guys on the team, which helped me a lot. And I knew it was closer. I was a little bit closer to home than Hobart was, and I just felt more comfortable with that situation of going there. I visited. I really enjoyed it. School's awesome. Had a good time meeting certain players over there, finding out which house I was going to move into and all that if I went. So that was ultimately what led to my decision, and I knew that they were a good team, especially the year before. They just made the playoffs. They had a stunning loss to Buff State. Buff State's goalie stood on his head. So then I go to Cortland, and I mean, if you guys want to ask any questions before we get into the college hockey part. So I've been just
No, it's good. It's good.
I'm a big yapper. It's just me yapping this whole time.
No, I mean honestly, I think this is a good time to transition kind of into the college hockey stuff. Obviously, you just talked about I think you kind of just did it on your own, talking about your decision making and what led you to choosing to go to Cortland.
Yep.
Obviously, we've heard about the circumstances as to kind of it. It really sounds as if a lot of the factors that played into kind of that D1 dream closing up was out of your control, and
Yeah. There was.
unfortunately, it's
I don't want to take it fully to that. There was some control in it because, I mean, yeah, I'm a solid player. I just had my moments of inconsistency. Inconsistency. That was what I heard. Oh, every time I talked to a coach for school was the inconsistency issue, and it was just so hard for me to figure out.
yeah,
And that didn't click until college.
definitely. I mean, I can look back at my own playing career and
Yeah.
stuff that coaches told me in juniors and going all the way up, and then there's a lot of things that didn't really click until I got to college, and then it was like, oh,
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
the asshole this whole time.
It's crazy to see it that way because there was it gets to the point where you're watching clips of yourself and you're like, whoa, I don't like this. It's
Yeah,
hard to watch yourself, and
definitely.
you're like, is this what they've been seeing this whole time? It's just like that. So my first year at Cortland, I got hurt. I got hurt. What was it? Twice. I had right after my shoulder surgery. So I come back into the season. I play 4 games, or no, I don't remember how many games it was. I played a few games, and then I went. We were playing Buff State, and I went to the corner against their biggest defenseman. So I wasn't gonna let him hit me. So I tried to engage contact first with him. Brick wall. I had no idea. My AC joint in my other shoulder separated, and I was like, no way. I knew the feeling because I had it happen to this one
Yep.
during the in between my 2 surgeries. So I kind of knew the feeling, and this one was way worse. And I was like, no way. I had one of those like freakouts on the bench where I like threw all my stuff. I was like, you can't. Stop.
Yeah.
And that took me out for a while. I was in like a good spot too. I was playing power play, like getting points on the power play and everything. And it was just like tough because when I got back,
And
it's like each time I got an injury, it just knocked me off the totem pole like fully.
and just to cut you off real quick,
Yeah.
we know how crucial that is because you go from junior hockey where you're playing
Yep.
45, 50, maybe 60 games in the season, and then you get to college, especially at the Division 3 ranks, you're only playing 27 games,
Yeah.
28 games, maybe 30 if you're lucky. So
Yeah.
every game it's like worth 3 is like the way I used to think about it. It's cuz like you're used to playing so many games your whole life, and then you get to like the pinnacle of your hockey career, and it's like you're shorthanding us here, man.
Yeah. And like the way, and when you said like every game felt like 3, I don't know if it was me getting old, but it felt like 3.
Yeah,
Like,
oh,
it didn't stop.
listen. By the time I got to my senior year, and I was in my last year, and I'm like, I love this game with all my heart. I love playing competitively, but I can't take a back to back anymore. Friday, I'm money. Saturday, I'm cooked.
Oh yeah, it like so like the my first game of college hockey. So Cortland has like a smaller rink. There's 4 SUNYAC teams with like smaller neutral zones. You feel that right
Yeah.
away.
Oh yeah.
Like it's you catch a pass in the neutral zone, head up, because the defenseman is right there or
Right, yeah.
whatever. However low in the neutral zone you are, like how far up the ice you are, it's either that forechecking forward in the 1-3-1 for the most part every team played, or the defenseman was right there, shoulder in your chest. Like it was my first shift. My first shift of that, I felt it because I skated up the boards expecting way more room. I had practiced on this ice for only a week before that, so I'm expecting way more room. And that defenseman met me so fast. Luckily, like I got a good chunk of him, so he went flying, I went flying. It was like, wow, I got to get rid of this thing way faster. I don't have as much room as I thought I did.
Definitely. And I think that's another piece of it too is I think you make the jump from juniors, especially as an age out, and it's like
Yeah,
I'm dictating the pace. I'm the old guy. Like I'm dictating the pace
exactly.
here. I am determining how we're gonna play this game. And then you step in as a freshman and you're like, this is a step quicker. Like we're older. Why are we getting faster here?
Exactly. Like it was. I mean, the quickness was definitely there. The smaller ice made it feel even faster.
And just everyone thinks the game's so much
Everyone
better.
was so much bigger too. Like
Yep.
there's still the fair share of smaller guys. It's not like you're playing pro yet, like where everyone's just huge. But they're like defensemen. No, most part, each defenseman's big. Like we had a kid on our team, AJ Prostowski was
I
huge.
played against AJ in juniors, and yeah,
Huge.
100%.
He was a big boy, and it like you just there's those defensemen on the other team, like they're big and they cut the gap real fast. Like
Yep.
it's like there was that in the null, those kids that went D1, but they weren't as filled out, so it didn't feel like as crazy. You were mainly just getting stripped of the puck, not destroyed. You know.
I
But
always
that
say this:
was
the first
cool.
guy who ever made me feel like that was when I was playing in the EHL. I was on Apple Corps, and I was playing the Rockets, and and honestly, like throughout my whole career, like this is the only guy I ever felt where I genuinely had to have my head up at all times, or else he was going to clean my clock, and that's Luke Rowe. And Luke played 4 years. He was the captain at Air Force, and now he's at Islanders camp. He just signed a contract with Bridgeport. I mean,
That's
but
sick.
he was the one guy that was always like when I was playing against him, it was like he's in my ear, in my face, trying to get in my head, trying to take my head off. But then, like when I got traded to the Rockets, he was like the first guy walking up to me, shaking my hand, welcoming me to the team, and like, like he's like
It's
pain
always
in the
that
ass. You do not want to play against him, but like when you're on his team, it's like you're his best friend, and like he was one of the best guys I've ever met in this game.
and that's your brother. It's the same person.
Yeah, kind of.
When you play against Joe, you hate him, but when he's on your team, you love him. But that's kind of how it was when I got to Jersey. So when I was playing against Jersey, that was like my big rivalry team. I every one of those guys they hated me. Like
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of any of them, besides like a few that I knew, and they weren't big fans of me before I got there. And Blake Farrell, he was one of the guys that every game we had like a big hit on each other. We were like, we never really fought. We didn't fight ever, but we were always like, that was the guy that like every game we were in each other's face, like hitting each other, just constant like hatred for each other. Then when I get there, he ends up being like one of my best buddies right away. Like it was just that like it's always the guy that you don't expect to like that ends up being the guy that you like. It's always that guy that you fought with. So when I got it's like that story with you and Ro. Like it was just I still talk to him randomly whenever it is. Like our team group chat still randomly like buzzes around sometimes. But those guys like after my first weekend we played Northeast and we swept them. We actually our last game was an OT winner and Ben Yurchuk did the sweep across center ice. Crazy goal celebration for OT. And so I got the was it the hard hat or was it I think I got it was like my first goal puck, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I get in there and I go, this feels a whole lot better than winning or than losing, fellas. And they just like went nuts. And like that whole week, they're like, Hyde, we thought we were gonna hate you. I was like, I thought so too. Honestly, I thought I was gonna hate you guys too. But I was like, I feel this is a good spot. Like,
Yeah.
you don't expect it. It's always one of those things. I was so nervous going there. I was like, these guys hate me. And immediately, they welcomed me in right away. Had fun. Like whatever I needed to learn on the ice, off the ice, with how they ran stuff, like right away everyone like introduced me to it quickly. They ran it really professional there, which was really awesome to get into. And it was like cool with Craig and Bob and Shaps. Like you could go into that office anytime you want and just talk to the coaches about anything. My first day, they were like, Craig looks at me and goes, all right, gotta ask it. Take us to a day in Danbury. Because everyone knew about the hotel and like the bad record and everything. So like they just wanted to know. And I was like, honestly, the hotel was fun. But it was definitely not a good place to live for sure.
Yeah.
But when I was in Danbury, I was one of the first guys to get a billet family, and I still talk to them to this day. I actually went to a wedding for the older daughter in April, and it was the first time I'd seen them in like over a year or whatever it was.
Wow.
And it was like we didn't skip a beat. It was that they were awesome. So that family, the Alessandros, they wanted to host a kid, and they needed someone specific. So they have 2 daughters and a son, and the son's the youngest, and he has Down syndrome. So they wanted like someone specific, like a good person. I didn't really think I fit that scheme, but it turns out I was picked for it, and it ended up being like the best case scenario. Like immediately, Luke was like my best friend. Like every day, he would come home from school and just be so excited to run downstairs and say hi to me, or I'd run upstairs and because I heard him come in the door, and I'd be like, "Oh, Luke, what's up?" We had our like own handshake and everything. Just the family and in general, like the nicest people I've ever met. They were just so sweet every day. I would have like breakfast made for me every day. Like it was awesome. Like I was just getting the best treatment ever. So after I left, after I got traded, it was like it was a tough time to leave them, but they knew it was on to better things. I got to come back to Danbury and play another game there after I hurt my shoulder and everything. So I got to see them there. But oh shoot, I just forgot where I was going with this. There's the yap. The yap took me out of it.
Yeah. If we want to jump back to Cortland real quick. So you played at Cortland last season and I believe you guys won the conference championship or
So the first year we won the SUNYAC championship.
first year.
So my freshman year, we won the SUNYAC championship, and then we went and played in the NCAA's. I was hurt throughout all of that. I played the first playoff game. Ironically, that first playoff game was against Brockport, and I got the puck and I cut towards the middle, and staring me in the face was Matt Anastasio, who was like one of my best buddies on Heat Daddies, and he's on my team here at Stony Brook. And like my instinct every time I see someone in my face is either to make a move or drop my shoulder if I'm too close. So I dropped my shoulder and I accidentally gave him like a concussion.
Oh,
I hit him hard. And the story's funny about that. So it was like his dad Anthony was like they were talking about oh shoot, Matt got rocked. Like how did that? It's not good. Like Matt's down, and Joey Anastasia was like that's Rob. And it was just like this big thing, like, oh, Rob killed Matt during that day. It was, I felt so bad though, like immediately after it happened, because at first I didn't think I got him well, but then when he was down, I knew he had like concussion history, so I was like, oh shoot, that could not be good. But to touch on the Suniac thing, so my first year, our team was like really close. We had a good group of guys. Our leadership was good. Everyone kind of like stuck to what Joe was, trying to push for our team, and our age or not age outs, but our seniors got me on junior still. But our seniors were a gigantic piece in that puzzle because they played our seniors and juniors were big piece. Like Anthony Bernardo had the game winner in all 3 games of the
love
SUNY.
Bernardo.
Paul knows
Yeah,
Bernardo's.
I went to high school with the Bernardos. They're great people.
Oh yeah, Anthony had the game winner in the first game against Brockport. We won 5-1. He had the second goal, or 5-2. He had the third goal, whatever it was. And then against Geneseo, Bernardo scored late in the game to take the lead, 3-2. And then the championship game, he won in an OT. So it was like we called him the Bernayer, Bur Cortland, Bur Clutch. We were just calling him all these fun names. So we were going into the second year, high hopes. Joe wanted us to finish top 2, make it to.
And real quick, was that the first time Cortland had made it to the tournament?
That was the first time, yeah, we ever made it to the NCAAs. I
So,
believe it could have been the second time. There was the second time we made it to the SUNYAC championship. The first year was Derek Lalonde year, the Red Wings ex-coach.
Yep. So
Yeah,
you're a part of a little bit of history up at SUNY
yeah.
Cortland.
So I'm part of history. I'm part of the only, I guess, SUNYAC win for. I didn't play in the NCAA game, so technically I'm not really a part of that history, I guess.
No, you're part of it. You were on the team.
I
Don't
didn't
sell
play.
yourself short there, Rob.
I didn't really play in. I didn't play in the I guess the semi and the final game. I was having like back spasms during that time, so I just kept facing injuries. It just started to like beat me up. But so I guess that picture will forever be there of us winning the SUNYAC, and Bernayer, Hoiston. The second year, like high hopes. I had like a good discussion with Joe at the end of the year about like it was because going in he was like he had high hopes for me as a freshman, hoped that I was going to be like rookie of the year and stuff. So he was like, this year we're kind of going to go in with those same hopes. You're going to come in all healthy, and it started off that way. The line I was on, Nathan Garnier and Connor Humphrey, we were buzzing. It was kind of like that line where you just relentless forecheck. Garnier was putting the puck in the net like it was like he was being paid to do it. He had like 7 goals in the first 6 games. I think 6 assists on them, but that's where it was like getting annoying because they weren't putting it up. The opposing teams weren't putting up those points, and like you couldn't go in because the only way you could change that is through the other team, and they're not going to do that. So like it looked bad when I only had 2 in the first 9 games, but then I got hurt again. I took again. We were playing Plattsburgh. We're up 3-1. I had an assist that game on one of Garnier's goals. He went bar down. Of course, guys, a stud. And late game, I take a penalty. I lifted a kid's stick and it flew out of the rink. I didn't expect that to happen. So I take a penalty and now I'm like, no, there's like 3 minutes left. This is not a good look. But the play keeps going, and eventually it comes to the point where my guy rounds the top and he's getting ready to lean into a shot. So I drop down to block it, and it hits me perfectly on my foot where I have it's just the worst spot to get hit. It was right on like the side. So like if this is my foot, it hit me like right here.
Oh yeah.
And it just buckled my foot immediately. But I went in the box, and since my skate was still on, it didn't like puff up or anything yet. So I come back on the ice. I skate. It hurts, but I finished the game. Once I took my skate off, it felt like the Hulk was just smashing my foot in. And I was like, this sucks. I really hope I didn't break my foot on the shot. Luckily, apparently I didn't, but I was dealing with this pain for like 6 months. So like I missed 3 games because then we went on to Christmas. So uh, I missed the Potsdam game that was the next day, and then I missed whatever was the next weekend. And when I got back, we went to New Hampshire to play 2 games against 2 Division II teams. And the first game I played in, and or no, we had 2 games before that. I didn't play in the first one, and the second one I played in on the fourth line with Bernardo and O'Kane, and we had a nice goal that game, so we got to play in the next one because he likes to keep the lineup the same if you win. But it was one of those weekends where we traveled far. He wanted to get everyone touches, and we kind of knew going into the game that, like me and O'Kane, we kind of knew that it was going to be us for, getting scratched the next game. We didn't really. I wouldn't say we had the best game, but our team we spanked these guys. We won 8-2 against St. Anselm, and so the next day we go in, and in my opinion, the team we played the next day was way worse. It was just like it almost felt like clownish that we were playing them, and we
Why
didn't
you
really have.
knocking? Why you knocking my alma mater?
And I was like, oh boy, but I didn't play, and it was just like eating me up. It was one of those days where like if I was out there, I'd have so much fun. It was just one of those games that looked like.
Not if I was out there. You would have been down on the ice, buddy.
Nah, you would have just towed me. You're not ahead of me. You're not bad.
Nah,
You would
my
have just
coach,
towed
my
me.
coach probably would have had me plastered up in the stands.
Yeah. But I was like, it was eating me up that we were playing this, like, and I just wasn't in. We won 8-2 the day before, so like this year it was like I was just facing issues with ice time. It's like it seemed like once that injury happened to me, I lost any chance that I had, and it was just eating me up. And it sucked because when I got hurt, whatever player went in my spot played really well. So like as a coach, now you're put in a difficult situation. You don't want to take out that player that just he earned his spot back like
Yeah,
in the lineup
and
as
you're
a
not
friend.
sitting there rooting for your teammates' downfall, but
Yeah,
you're like, I want to play too.
yeah. So like I'm pumped that he's playing, and I'm like, let's go. Like he looks good. We're winning games, and he solidified himself as like a good 2-way player for us too. And I'm like, it's getting to the point where I'm like, now I'm just not playing like at all. I'm playing fifth line at practice. Like I'm just there. It was like it started to make me like not want to do anything. Like I wasn't really going out with the guys at all. Like I was just home, bored, upset that I wasn't playing. And it got to the point where I had to like really talk to Joe, and he told me that it really had nothing to do with my game or how I was practicing. He just liked how the team looked. So it just ended up being one of those things where I just didn't fit, you know, the regime anymore. And it was like it was heartbreaking, but when one door closes, another one opens. So it was, in my opinion, it was a blessing in disguise.
And
I enjoyed my time there. I have nothing bad to say about the school. It was just a blessing in disguise. Now I'm home. The homebody like it's back. I love being home. I get to see my family all the time, which has been just a blessing. And I have a really good group of guys here at Stony Brook, and I've really enjoyed my first month or so with my team.
I was gonna say, let's talk about that door that has just opened up. You've mentioned it a couple of times. We talked about it at the open of the show. Your transfer to Stony Brook now just I mean, Paul and I talked to Brandon Avazov last week, and he spoke to us a little bit about his time at Stony Brook and the Chris Garofalo pitch. And he used the famous line of, and I'm sure you probably got it too, you can get, Mercedes education for the price of a Hyundai.
Yes, absolutely. My first, so I get this isn't my first. So before I went to Cortland, Garrow talked to me about going to Stony Brook, and I was in that like the cocky, I'm not playing club.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go play D3 NCAA kind of mode. And thankfully, Garrow didn't take anything of like how I dealt with the situation, badly. It's not that dealt with it badly in the first place. It's just like I could have came off as like a cocky person when I really wasn't trying to. It's just the interest at the time wasn't there because I was so set on NCAA.
You had the tunnel vision.
Yeah, I had complete tunnel vision for NCAA hockey, but thankfully, so I was actually going to go to Farmingdale originally, and I was super
Paul
excited.
shaking his head. He's like, "Yeah, that's my alma mater. Let's go."
I was, I was,
you gotta play with Joe.
I was at the like point where I was like, screw it, go home, play club hockey, have a great time, be close to home. Like I could live at the time. My dad was living in Farmingdale, so it was around the corner. I was right behind. I was right next to the Regal movie theater over there,
Oh yeah.
and it's it's the spot. 110's awesome, good spot.
Well,
One
And,
110. You got a lot to do there.
Smoothie King became my obsession when I was over there, but I was like pumped, and I was so ready to like come play for Farmingdale, and then I get a call one night because I didn't really like. No one really knew that I was coming home or that I got cut from Cortland. Besides, ironically, the day I was coming home for, I think it was Easter, I got a DM from Farmingdale saying, like, asking me what I was doing the next year. So I was like, oh, this is
perfect.
ironic. I haven't told anyone about me getting cut.
Yeah.
And I like talked to them. I was super excited about going Farmingdale, like potentially whatever it was. I was pretty much 99% in. And then Garrow called me one night when I got back to Cortland because he was like, "So you didn't tell anyone that you got cut or that you were coming home?" And I was like, "No." I was kind of just set on going home, living at home with my dad, and playing Farmingdale. And he was like, he pitched the line to me.
Yeah. The line. I love it. It's just the line.
He pitched the line to me, and also the 4 hour. It was a 4 hour call,
Yeah.
and he got me like awesome. Part of Garrow is that he's like a great person. So he pushed me to send my transcripts over to Farmingdale and Stony Brook. Like he helped me with all of that, and um, send the applications and stuff. So he like helped me with both. He was like, "Yeah, send it to both." He was like, "Do whatever you need to do," and he really just like I knew talking to him this time that the first time it's not that I made a mistake. It's that I didn't really know what I had at the time with like how I was going to be treated and all this stuff. And I really was like, this time I'm taking this opportunity, go to a really good school and play ACHA hockey, you know, and get what I really want to do. Like go home, play hockey, be happy.
Yeah.
It was one of those moments.
And there's something nice full circle moment too where like you first started your hockey career at the Rinks and now you're going to be playing for Stony Brook at the Rinks. Like it's a nice little full circle.
Yeah, that was like I don't remember when it was right after I committed to Stony Brook. I was talking to my dad and I was like, what's funny? It's like I'm starting and ending at the Rinks. Like it's my first time ever touching the ice was at the Rinks, and now probably my last time touching the ice is going to be at the Rinks. It depends if we're home or away, but
Yeah.
I,
So, so I mean, are you studying the same thing that you were studying at Cortland? Like, everything
so
transfer over
Portland.
smoothly? Are you changing your major? Like, what's going on here?
When I was at Cortland, I went through a little bit of finding myself academically.
I think we all need to.
Yeah, it was. So I started off business economics, because that was just like the easy. I committed kind of late, kind of thing. So I was like, all right, business economics.
First thing I see, I'm checking.
Yeah, I'll be a business bro, whatever it is. And so I get there, and that first semester I did business. It's not that I didn't like it; I was just kind of bored. And Bernardo was a phys ed, training to be a phys ed teacher and whatever it was, and doing all this cool stuff. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So then at the end of that semester, I switched over into phys ed. So the following semester, I had to wait. So the next semester, I was like technically business still, but I didn't take any business classes. I just took general education classes for my second semester. And then coming into my sophomore year, I started as a phys ed major, and I had 16 credits, but I had 8 classes. And it was just so time consuming.
Oh yeah.
It was kicking my butt the whole time. And I was like, how did you? And starting late didn't help either, because I wouldn't have needed to take that many credits if I didn't start late.
Yeah.
But like, I took aquatics, so I was swimming I was swimming twice a week at like 9 in the morning or whatever, 9, 10 in the morning. And then I was taking dance class, and What was the other one? There was another activity course. Oh, racket activities. That was fun. That was like play like tennis, pickleball, racquetball, badminton. I think I'm missing one, but
That's cool
that
though.
was really fun. But it was
Yeah.
like all these classes, and you do a lot of work in them. Like for one credit, it was just a lot of work, and I had no time to do anything. Plus, I had three other classes I was taking.
And you're like, these are the requirements to become a gym teacher?
Yeah, like, it's definitely worth it if you go in as a freshman doing it. Like
Yeah.
it makes it a lot. Not that it's
Like
easy,
like
but it makes
McCulkin
it a
did.
lot more time. Like it's easier to manage your time when you start off there as that, and they also have the like best program in the nation for it. So, it the stuff they were doing was really cool.
Yeah, I had a buddy who like recently graduated from Cortland, and he had to make like a bunch of YouTube videos for like
Yeah,
of like him like explaining instructions to games for like younger kids and stuff. Like it's a whole thing up there.
yeah, it's a lot. So like for my rhythms, and I had to take my dance class, of course. So it's rhythms and dance. So they like kind of. My professor was actually he was awesome. Um, like very good dancer. You know, had just that like mentality. It was just like meant for him. That was his life. He was so good at it. And so what I really liked about what he was doing with it was he would teach you and then right away he would be like, "Okay, now how would you teach this to me?" And that was like that sort of engaging moment, but that class was so hard cuz I'm not a good dancer. Put me on the ice, that's as, rhythmic as I get. I like dance with the same kid every day too. This like first day, like there wasn't many girls in the class, and of course a guy wants to dance with a girl, but I dance with this kid every day, and I like developed that chemistry with him where it was like we know what we're doing, like every day, like we know what we're doing. We're getting down. We go in.
It was lockstep.
Yeah, we had that cohesiveness right away, and I was like, all right, who needs a girl? Well, me and the guy.
Team Chem was off the charts.
Yeah, Team Chem was there immediately. I'll never forget Hayden.
That's
He's a
great.
good dude.
So
But
no fizz at Stony Brook. Is that it?
no,
Is that what? No?
but then so that semester I had to do so much work for all these other classes. Like the one credit classes were just requiring me to do so much, and I had no time for it. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Then I found out you have to go to Racket Lake for like 2 weeks, and you don't have your. It's not like the phone part didn't really bother me. It's just the being away from civilization for 2 weeks, and 1 week you don't even shower. And I was like, oh. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna get through this. Like people get sick during. I'm not a big person of like. I hate being around sickness, so I was like, I don't know if I would even survive those. I'd be stressed out the whole time, worrying about other people. I'd be worried about other people. Like if it was me and like two other people, I could probably do it. But it was just like too many people for.
Listen, we did a show at a summer camp this summer, and we were there for 48 hours, and I almost blew my lid. So I don't blame you for wanting to be out of civilization 2 weeks. I'd be in the same boat. I'd be like, no, it's like 48 hours, and I was like, I need to get home. Like,
I definitely could have done it a weekend. I definitely could have done it if it was just a weekend. But like 2 weeks, Bernardo. So like this is Bernardo. He loved it, and I was like, all right, if you loved it, I not that him and I are opposites, but I was like, I think I might hate it because he's super optimistic. He's awesome. Like everything, he knows how to make a good time out of everything. And I was like, if you really loved it that much, I was like, I like think I could do it if you were there, but you're not gonna be.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think I could do it without you. It was one of those things. I was like, I don't know if I could do this with some random people that I don't really know.
That's fair.
But then I was like, all right, time to switch majors again. So my spring semester, sophomore year, I switched into sport management.
All right.
So their sport management program is really good, and I didn't expect to, get cut. So I was like, I was ready to do this for whatever it is. I enjoyed the classes I was in as well, so I was like, oh, cool, pumped.
Yeah.
And then that all breaks loose, and now I'm like, when I'm coming here, I'm like, there's no. Garrett was like, don't even do sport management. He's like, you could do business management and get a job in a sports management area. And he's like, it's more broad for business management than sport management. You're kind of locked in on one area for Stony Brook purposes of how they do it. And I was like, okay. So now I'm in business management, and I only have two. I have two classes. So I have 6 credits that transferred over from the business major that I was in for Cortland, because that's the only 2 classes I took for business.
So you're
Other
like
than that,
restarting on the business end again.
yeah, but I only got to come in here with like 52 or 54 credits.
Okay.
So technically, I'm like a spring semester sophomore. So I'm a little bit behind, which kind of stinks because I'm going to have, with work and school and hockey, it's going to be a little hard to manage. But, you know, I could take another semester or 2 to finish that. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the beauties of being a college athlete is, you know, balancing academics, balancing the hockey schedule, balancing your work. I mean, I
Yeah,
did it at SNU where I was like, all right, I'm going to the rink at 7 a.m. I got practice. I got class at 9:30 or whatever it is. I'm going right from the rink to school, and
exactly.
then I'm gonna go work in the afternoon, and I'll get home at like 9 o'clock, and we'll do it all again the next day.
It's a grind, but it's worth it when it, like, in the end. It's totally worth it.
100%. I say it to everybody. It's the best 4 or 5 years of your life, however long it takes you. I mean,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
five for me. I got my master's, but it's the best time of your life, and there's absolutely every opportunity you have, you should take advantage of. Um, you know, like I said, it only comes once, so it's like
Yeah.
you gotta have fun. You gotta enjoy every experience. So what are you most looking forward to for the hockey season with Stony Brook? I know you guys are getting going in the next week or so. You've had a couple of practices already.
Yeah.
You know, what are you excited for about the team, and what are you most looking forward to for this season?
We just finished our first week of like team practice. Like last week we had training camp where we scrimmaged 3 days, and then this week we started our actual practice schedule. So like Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday we practice, and it was actually a really good week of practice. The guys look good. Everyone's got really good tempo. I'm super excited, and from what I'm hearing, we have a better team than last year, and they were on the incline last year because they had a little bit of a decline after they were like a top 10 team for a while. They had a bit of a decline, and now we're back coming up. And I think this year's gonna be really good for us. I'm excited to, like, just the first game, just get the toes wet.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just excited for that. That's gonna be a blast. We have sick uniforms, so like it's just I picked 88 this year. I'm
Oh
gonna go.
There
wow.
you go.
Okay. All right.
That's it comes with a lot of baggage.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna get chirped quite a bit, but it's all right. You know,
Listen, you're carrying the number on from Stony Brook legends like Joey Slevin. I love Slevs. Love Slevs. It's not a knock, Slevs. I promise.
Thick numbers. So I was like, when I was talking to Garrow originally about numbers, I was like, all right, what, like, do we have like between 1 and 30, like other colleges? He was like, any number you want. And
Yeah,
I was
whatever
like,
you want.
that's sick.
Yeah.
You just opened a big. I was like,
I want to say Joe's wearing like 57 or something this
yeah,
year
I
for
think it's
Farmingdale.
like
Like
it's either 52 or 57. I don't remember.
he's wearing something crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
They also have a lot of guys. They had a lot of guys to start their camp.
yeah, they have a pretty big roster this year. I think they've got
Yeah.
like 17 forwards, like 90. They got a
Yeah,
pretty
we have 18 forwards, I
Oh wow.
believe. Yeah, we
Yeah,
have a lot of forwards, but it's like good for practice purposes. Everything splits evenly, which is nice.
definitely. So I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves here. You still have a few seasons of college hockey left, but is the thought still there? Do you want to try to keep playing, maybe play a little bit pro when you're all done, or do you think you're gonna move on to the business management world?
There's like I have like two sides of it. It all depends on how I'm feeling, like physically at that point. Like if I want to go play, in the Fed, or try for the SP or something like that. It, it's just how I'm feeling at the end of like next year. I do get a 5th year, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
So if I do decide to play my 5th year, it depends on how I'm feeling after that. By that time, I'll be an old man at 25 or 26, whatever it is.
I did
And
it. You can do it.
hey, you played hockey a long time. You
I
played like
played.
18, you played like 18 years of juniors. So
6. I'm I actually so your like fun fact, your like cool statistic for yourself is you were Mr. Irrelevant in the USHL. My fun fact is my birth year, the 97s, we were the last age group of 15-year-olds that were allowed to play juniors.
Oh shoot!
So I went from bantam hockey right to juniors. I never touched midget ice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
So I was the last age group, the 97s, that you were allowed to be 15. 15 to 21 was juniors. Then they changed it to you had to be 16 the following season.
That's crazy.
It was nuts. We were the
Like your whole
youngest
life is
junior
junior.
team in the country. It was
That's
Apple Corps
wild.
Junior B, and we had that year we had 796s and 897s.
You were practically a
Half the
seven.
team
You
was
were practically
15
a
and
six.
16 years old.
Yeah, you were practically a 16U team.
Pretty much.
That's crazy. I love that. Though.
It
That's
was
unreal.
wild.
That's unreal though. Like now, anytime you see like a 16-year-old, you just know they're nasty in
Yeah.
juniors. Like it's the only reason kids that are 16 are going to juniors now.
It was unreal. Unreal.
Oh,
Great time. But yeah, junior hockey was the best. College hockey's pretty fun too.
college hockey.
College is more fun than
Juniors
college
is like
hockey.
juniors feels like pro without the money.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
just show up, go to the rink, go home. Like you can take classes if you want. I honestly
Never did.
regret not doing it because now it's biting me. But it like felt like pro. You go to the rink all morning, you come home and hang out with the fellas all night and do whatever you want.
That's
Like
it.
it was fun. It was just like one of those times where you can't replicate it anymore. Like you won't be able to replicate that for the rest of your life. But that same like with that deciding on the life choices thing, it's like there is that chance that I do want to play like some sort of pro after, but there's also that chance where I'm like, maybe my calling is to get a job and play and be a coach. I've had the opportunity to, potentially work for PAL. So like I would like to work for PAL is what I meant. Like, is what I meant to say. But like I have that opportunity and I definitely would be very like that would be really cool for me. So like when Di Lorenzo, he's a coach at PAL. I get to skate with his 18U team or 16U team, whatever. Like so the last few years I've gotten to do that with his I think it was 15, 16s and 18s. I got to skate around with all them. Uh, and it's fun going out there with them because it's like cool. These kids are eager to listen to me. It's like not not necessarily they're looking up to me, but like I'm the older guy on the ice. I played high levels of hockey. They'll listen to me if I say something like that's hockey wise. So like I go out there and like if I see something that maybe could be touched up on, I'll like bring them over and be like, hey, next time try this, and it should like you'll feel better doing it and it'll help, and it like that like passing on like wisdom feels good. So I like the coaching part. I definitely am so interested in coaching, and I think I'd have a lot of fun. Hopefully, I don't. If I do, hopefully I don't turn into one of those crazy coaches. Because we know how I grew up playing hockey with
Yeah.
the
No, I
mindset.
mean, I think that's the beauty of it. I think, and I said this to Brandon last week. Um, I think we all have been around this game for so long. We all feel that this game has given and provided us so much that we all want to be able to give back in our own ways.
Yeah,
And like, I sit here and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to do it in a media way. And I think the way you describe it just now, like, trying to do it in a coach's way, I think is the perfect way to try to give back to that game. We've gone a little long here, so I want to ask you one more thing, Rob, and then we'll start to wrap it up here. I just last thing. If there's any piece of advice you can give to some of the viewers, our younger audience, playing the game, going through life, going through the ups and downs that hockey can bring, what piece of advice would you give?
do what your heart wants to. That's like a big piece. Always follow what your heart wants, because in the end, it's gonna be the best option for you because it's going to bring you somewhere that you want to be. If you follow your heart, you're going to be somewhere you want to be. So, like, not, it's not that like, say a door opens, you're a little scared. Like, your heart might not want it to start, but it could be masked by this, like, the nervousness or being scared or whatever it is. it's like it's a hard piece to kind of give to someone, but like it kind of goes with that mount thing. Like my heart wanted to be there because I knew it was a big opportunity, but the scaredness like kind of masked it a little bit. And I am so grateful I went there. Like it's just one of those. It was one of those pieces to the puzzle that like following the heart was the best option. Where, you know, I got the best hockey I'll play and the best locker room friends that I ever will meet and never forget in my life. So
Yeah, and created a unique path for your story, and
yeah,
and absolutely played a role in getting you to where you are today. I
yeah,
mean,
definitely.
I think that's a great piece of advice, and like I said, everyone goes through different ups and downs, different battles of adversity, through life, through their own hockey journeys, and like Robert said, sometimes you got to take that leap of faith. It might be a little nerve wracking, a little scary, but sometimes it creates and fosters the best situations.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
with that, Paul, do you have anything else that you would like to add?
Um, I mean, other than just wishing you the best of luck, man. Upcoming, the homeboy's finally home,
Yeah.
and I hope that Rinks ice doesn't feel any different from the first time you stepped on it, and hopefully you continue to carry that love and joy that you found that first time.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Still like a kid in the candy shop. Always.
So, again, Robert, thank you so much. Everybody, please make sure you follow Robert on social media. Follow the Stony Brook M1 team on social media. You can see their schedule updates on their current contests. All of Stony Brook M1 games this season will be on the LI Sports Network, so super accessible. We're super excited to have the Seawolves M1 program joining us this season, and you're going to be able to see a lot of Robert Hyde this season on the LI Sports Network as well. So, once again, Robert, thank you so much for joining us here tonight.
Thank you for having me. I'm so grateful. It's awesome. I had a good time. Happy you guys were able to. Glad your guys' ears didn't fall off. So
An absolute blast. So, again, on behalf of Robert Hyde, our producer, Wally Mitchell, Paul Trentini, I'm Travis Quigley. Thank you all again so much for tuning in to Rinks and Realities, powered by the LI Sports Network.